Good evening, everyone. There you go. Now, good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show. Kind of spoke a couple of seconds too quick. And the Joe and Joe Weather Show is, as it is every night, brought to you by our friends at Omni True Value Hardware. They are, of course, have everything you need for spring. Well, you can't borrow the dump truck and you can't borrow the front loader there, but you certainly can get all the mulch you could possibly need, and they don't run out because they make it there. 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. The phone number is 631-756-1125. They have the best prices in town, and they are a local business. The website, omnitruevalue.com. And of course, also brought to you by our friends at Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs. And I know that it's Easter, but everybody always has a little bit of Christmas on their mind all of the time. And there are other holidays that they handle too. And they're at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst. Plan ahead for the next holiday season, 631-957-5106. And if you want to get into this business, give them a call. Their website is liholidaylighting.com. So, Mr. Rayo, here we are on the last day of March. Tomorrow is the 1st of April, getting some snow in northern Pennsylvania through upstate New York and into northwestern New England. In the meantime, you've got showers and thunderstorms running around for this evening. But it's really I guess the biggest thing is the cold that's coming in for Thursday night and Friday night, because it's kind of a throwback to, I don't know, 5 weeks ago, if you want to seasonally adjust it.
Well, I think that right now, looking at the radar, Joe, that the main bout of precipitation for the first part of the night has, at least where I am, pretty well coming to an end. Looks like
Let me bring the radar up, and you can describe. Hang on one second. I'll bring up the U.S. radar here. Opened something I shouldn't have opened. Hang on one moment. Oh, hold on a second. And where is it?
I don't know.
Oh, wait, where did it go? Where did it go? The best laid plans of mice and men here. Hold on a second. Let's try it again.
It disappeared.
Now we got it. Okay. Proceed.
Well, what I'm saying is that, looking at the way the radar is set up right at this moment, the loop is showing that the one main area of moisture came on through Westchester and Putnam County a little while ago. Now the back edge seems to be exiting to the east over toward Connecticut. I really don't see, the general movement is from west-southwest, excuse me, west-southwest to east-northeast. There is quite a bit of rain over down toward I-78 in New Jersey, and it's also raining across New York and western Long Island. But I honestly don't see very much more for my neck of the woods through the remainder of this evening, save for perhaps a few scattered showers. It looks like the main thrust or main push of moisture is going to be mostly to the south and east of where I am in Putnam County. And by the time we get to midnight, much of this heavy-duty stuff will be over with for much of the tri-state metropolitan area.
Well, this is coming in two pieces, because you got the front that's coming through first, and then if you look back in Ohio and in Kentucky and Tennessee, West Virginia, you're starting to see precipitation developing there. That's the upper trough that's swinging east, and that should bring another surge of rain tomorrow morning for a few hours at least. And of course, this is also going to be the mechanism that's going to set off snow in western Pennsylvania, actually even down some accumulating snow into the mountains of West Virginia and a little bit further south, certainly possible, and more of an accumulating wet snow for western and northern New York. Kind of tricky in figuring out where the eastern edge of this is going to be. It's all a lot of this is going to be elevation driven. And once that goes by, of course, you got this cold shot of air coming down. We also, by the way, and I'm going to bring up Tornado HQ because we do have severe weather that is going on. We've had a number of tornado warnings today, but nowhere near what went on with those severe weather outbreaks, the two severe weather outbreaks that we had in the last couple of weeks. There were quite a few tornado warnings last night in Mississippi and Alabama. Again, well, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and there were a couple of tornado warnings this afternoon, more in southern Alabama, that the Weather Service put up. Unlike the last outbreak, I'm not seeing here on Tornado HQ where they actually said a destructive tornado is moving from point A to point B. These were all warnings that indicated severe thunderstorms capable of producing a tornado. And I looked on the SPC's website, and they don't have any confirmed tornadoes, at least so far today. There was one also in southeastern Virginia, in King George County. That was about 4 hours ago. And then we had a couple of more tornado warnings, one in Alabama, one in South Carolina, and another one in Alabama, the most recent one. This expired about 2 hours ago, and there hasn't been anything since. So that's at least a plus. But you could see there's kind of this snaking line of strong thunderstorms down through southern Virginia into eastern North Carolina. Not quite at the coast yet, but getting close. And then running west of Wilmington, west of Myrtle Beach and Charleston. The cells become, there's kind of a break. Heavy rain in Georgia, and it's well south of Atlanta. Now, I had some of this rain this morning, and once again, it poured here like crazy. And there's a snaking line from off the south of Mobile to the Florida Panhandle. There are a few strong thunderstorms in that line that runs east-northeast into southern Georgia, just north of Valdosta, and then continuing to just southwest of Savannah. So this is the last of it in terms of the weather that's moving through the southeastern part of the United States. And then looks like once this weather system moves out, Joe, everything seems to calm down just in time for the weekend.
Yeah, I did. And let's not forget the wind machine, which I said yesterday. I don't really think we're going to see the winds quite as strong tomorrow and Friday, enough so that an advisory is going to be posted. But it still is going to be a very active a wind pattern for us. And you got to wonder about somebody who plans to be at Yankee Stadium for the opening day tomorrow. I mean, number one, I don't think temperatures are going to be much higher at game time than mid 40s or maybe even low 40s. Factor the wind in, it's going to feel like the 30s. And you're right, Joe. The lingering shower activity tomorrow morning may very well be mixed with some flakes of wet snow. No accumulations, but still that the S word comes into play tomorrow for a little while in the morning. The day may end tomorrow with perhaps a few pokes of sunshine, but the damage will have already been done for your Monday, Thursday, and then
Right.
Good Friday comes, and even Good Friday doesn't look like you would hope that it'd be a bright and sunny day on Friday, but I think there are going to be a lot of clouds lingering
Yeah.
because the atmosphere will still be unstable and cold, and again, it's still rather windy.
You got that deep upper trough that's going to be moving through during the day on Friday, and that's going to be a problem with respect to clouds. I'm on the same page with you with regarding to wind. I think it's going to be below advisory criteria, but there still will be some gusts up into the 30s. And if you're talking about temperatures, which have actually been scaled a little lower now, thinking upper 30s and low 40s may just about do it for highs on Friday. And it's going to be cool up and down the eastern seaboard. This trough is so deep the length of the trough. It's a long wave, so it goes all the way down into Florida. So you're getting that cold flow that's going to come down the Appalachians. I have a wind advisory here in North Georgia. I just want you to know. This is my first wind
Lovely.
advisory. I think this is my first wind advisory that I've experienced while I'm here.
Now the question is your wind advisory based on the same criteria as our wind advisory? Because down where you are, it doesn't get quite as windy frequently as up here. So I'm just wondering whether or not, let's say, a gust of 35 or 40 would be a criteria for a wind advisory for you, as opposed to up here where something like that would be just shy of a wind
Well,
advisory. I never was able to.
I'm going to check the Weather Service forecast, the specific forecast for me. Wind advisory from 10 p.m. Now remember, I'm in the mountains here, so um,
Right.
a lot of many times I can hear the wind blowing above me, and and it isn't all that windy down near ground level. They have here, well, look here, a wind advisory here for my county for northwest winds at 15 to 25, gusting to 30 to 35, mainly in elevations,
See that
mainly in elevations
that
over
would not
2,000
that
feet.
that would never make it as a wind advisory up here. So that's,
No,
yeah. So you see, it's a different animal down where you are
right. Plus
as opposed to up here.
a lot of trees here. I'm in the mountains and I'm in the woods, so oftentimes if the winds do pick up, and they don't have to pick up very much, it's enough to bring down a couple of limbs or a dead tree. Mine come down. Quite a few of them have come down here since I've been here, and so I guess even though the criteria is lower, the threshold for something happening is perhaps a little higher, so that a lower wind can cause problems, uh, as opposed to where you get up toward New York City, of course, and the metro areas, it's a little bit different. Bill Fisher hitting super chat tonight, wishing you and I a happy Easter. Thank you so much, Bill. Happy Passover or happy Easter or both to you, and also to everybody that is here tonight on the on the chat board and watching the show. Chris Sally, thank you for the kind wishes. Happy Easter and a happy holiday weekend to you and to everybody that put their wishes up on the board. I don't want to leave anybody out, but kind of scrolling through all this, it's hard to stay on top of it. So a general big hug, a holiday hug, virtually, for everybody watching the show tonight. And okay, so let's bring up. Let me get my mouse back where I need it to be, and let's bring up. Let's start off with. We'll start off with the U.S. satellite tonight, and the front is pretty obvious here on the satellite loop. The bright white clouds running up and down from New England all the way into the Gulf states, but notice a lot of dry air that is back through Indiana, Illinois, the Mississippi Valley, west of the lakes, and of course you can also see some clouds moving southeast up in the Great Lakes, and that's part of that deep upper trough that is setting up. And the west is quiet, although, Joe, if you look very closely, what looks like clouds and is not moving is the snow cover that is still in the Rockies, in Colorado, and on up into Wyoming and into Montana. That's always interesting to see this time of year and also in the Sierra Nevadas. If you look down in California, you could see the snow cover there showing up on the GOES picture.
That's right. That's right. But I really don't think, Joe, that we're going to be enjoying a protracted spell of bright sunshine until the weekend gets here. And interestingly, even then, we bright and sunny on Saturday, but then there's a little upper trough or something that comes on through during Saturday night that may actually throw a couple of stray showers here and there. People wake up early on Easter morning, may find it rather cloud filled, the sky's cloud filled, but then that goes away and the sun comes back during the course of the day on Sunday. So I mean, it's going to be a decent weekend, but even during the weekend, we're going to have these little ripples of instability move on through,
Mm-hmm.
bringing us a little bit of cloud cover and a little bit of precipitation.
Two comments I want to note here. Brian S. says we only had winds gusting to 35 miles an hour in Maine ahead of this system earlier, and somehow a huge tree limb came down on our on his deck and caused damage. Yeah, this is also a time of year after coming out of the winter. There are a lot of dead trees and dead branches around, so sometimes only the slightest puff of wind can knock them over. And T Snowy 23 Joe says I like Joe Rayo's shirt. It's like it's like mathematician genius Marco Rodin's coil vortex math symbol of enlightenment.
First of all, it's not even a shirt; it's a sweater.
Well,
Yeah.
T Snowy 23 likes it.
See?
You're a
And actually,
fashion plate.
since today is Wednesday, and underneath the sweater, as you can plainly see, um, what day is it today? Based on the camel, right?
Right. It's hump day.
Hump day. Yeah. So there you go.
All right.
There you are. But you can't even see that because of my mathematically inclined sweater. But whatever turns you on.
All right. SPC just issued a mesoscale discussion for for South Carolina, saying the potential for a severe thunderstorm watch is unlikely. They do have a slight risk indicated still, although the storms have already ended in southeastern Louisiana and southern Mississippi, so that should be done. Southern Alabama on up through central Georgia, and then through South Carolina and into eastern North Carolina, and just kind of just touching the Virginia state line. During this morning, they pulled the marginal risk further south. So they took it out of southern New Jersey and brought it down to southern Delaware, although they left the general thunderstorm line a little bit further to the north. So going forward for Thursday, SPC has no severe weather being indicated across the U.S. and only a southern half of Florida at risk for some general thunderstorms. Day 3, which is Friday into Saturday morning, no thunderstorms are forecast. And why would there be if you've got a deep trough along the East Coast and cold air that's coming all the way down into the southeastern part of the United States, just shuts the entire thunderstorm machine off. And then taking a look at days 4 through 8, so this takes us from Sunday into next Wednesday. Potential too low for Sunday and Monday and Tuesday, and predictability. Wait, let me slow this down. So we've got potential too low for day 4. So that's Saturday into Sunday. Day 5 is Sunday into Monday, potential too low. Day 6, which is Monday into Tuesday, potential too low. Day 7, which is Tuesday into Wednesday, now becomes predictability is too low. And also for day 8. So usually when they say predictability too low, they mean, well, we think there might be some severe weather somewhere, but we're just not exactly sure where it's going to be or what the magnitude is. It's just too early to know. And here's on the HREF model, which has a nice looking 500 millibar map that we can follow along. This time frame is Wednesday. This was earlier this afternoon. So this was at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So you see the trough is it's not quite that sharp yet, but getting there. And of course, those strong winds on the east side of the trough are being reflected with 100 knot plus jet here. Almost 100 knot jet, I should say, in parts of Tennessee and northern Alabama swinging eastward. And now you start to see the trough sharpen up somewhat as we go into tomorrow morning, as it approaches the East Coast, and that jet running up and down the East Coast there. And now here's we were talking about, Joe, as you were saying for Friday. The issue is, I'm just running it along. You still have this upper low just kind of sitting over New York State Friday morning, with the trough just inland of the coast all the way down to Florida. And again, you see the motion, just follow the wind pattern here. The upper air winds are going north to south, all the way from the Great Lakes all the way down to Florida. So that's all cold air, and you're not going to get any severe weather out of that until the trough has to completely clear out, and then the pattern has to kind of reset itself. But it's all about this system, and snowfall is WPC's forecast, their latest forecast, which was updated at 4:21 this afternoon. I'm sorry, 5:21 this afternoon. I keep forgetting we're on daylight time. Probabilities of at least 2 inches. The dark blue is 40%. The next shade is 50%. So I usually use 50% as a pretty good gauge of 2 inches happening. And you see it here, a little narrow strip there in eastern West Virginia up into southwest PA, probably around Johnstown, Altoona, or just west of there, and especially in elevated areas. And then going northeast, you start to see, around or just northwest of Binghamton, a likely area of 80 to 90%, and 90 to 100% up in northeastern New York and northernmost Vermont. Probability of 4 is going to be confined to, I think they kind of took this number down a little bit. And I also think they have a graphic problem there with that big area of light blue outside the main snow zone. But the probability of 4, again, north and west of Binghamton.
Everybody's going to get flurries, Joe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what the light blue
That's
means.
what the light blue.
Everybody's going to get flurries.
Right. And right on up into northeastern New York. And the probability of 8, I don't know why they did that. Now, the interesting thing is that WPC in their latest forecast, and I guess it was based on some of the model runs from earlier today, they kind of backed off a little bit. They had a much larger area probability of at least 8 and a higher probability up in northeastern New York and northern Vermont. They kind of scaled it back just a little bit. At this point, you just kind of have to watch and wait and see what goes on out your window to figure it out. And the snowfall amounts actually have been taken down a little bit by the local weather service offices. So they had 10 near Syracuse. Now they've gone to about 4 to 6 there, and 4 for Rochester. Less than an inch in Buffalo. The little trail of 6-inch amounts. That's probably, again, those mountains there around Johnstown, Altoona, and then on southward. I'm sorry. This is in New York State. My bad. Some 6-inch amounts there in southern New York. And then you start to get to 2 to 3 inch amounts, say from Altoona, Johnstown, down into the West Virginia mountains where there's a print of 6. But I got to believe that is an area of elevation. As far as accumulating snow, Joe, it's all way north of 84. I mean, it's really up there, and it doesn't even get up into Maine. It gets up into northernmost Maine and northwestern Maine. So because of the track of the low.
Yeah, this does not look like something that because of the track of the low, you have to go further inland, well north and west, to get into even the zone where any kind of an accumulating snow will occur. And as you just pointed out, Joe, north of 84 before you even begin to start considering that. This looks like a snowfall, a late season snowfall for parts of the higher terrain of the Catskills, and especially as you head on up toward, let's say, somewhere like Saratoga Springs or into the Adirondacks. That is where the snow will accumulate more than just a few inches. But down here, it may very well be, because the atmosphere aloft gets very cold first before the surface, the lower boundaries of the atmosphere do, that you might see a few wet snowflakes locally mixing in with the residual rain during the first half of the day tomorrow. But it does not look like one of those cases. Certainly does not look like a repeat of 1997, April 1st, where we had here in the Hudson Valley something like on the order of 6 to 12 or 8 to 14 inches of heavy wet snow. The famous April Fool's storm of 1997. That is not going to be a repeat this go around, but certainly the cold, the wind, the leftover showers, the few flakes of wet snow will make it seem more like late winter tomorrow as opposed to early spring. Hard to believe that less than a week ago, many areas were at or even above 80 degrees. But isn't that what the month of March can be sometimes?
Yep, exactly. All right, so let's look at the upper air, and of course, it's all about a developing block that was too little, too late for the coastal Northeast, and that's usually what happens this time of year. In fact, it happens a lot in the winter where the timing is not right. But those higher pressures, Greenland to Iceland, are going to kind of hold this upper low in place to an extent. It actually redevelops at 40 and 60. And now you've got a closed upper high south of Greenland by the time we get into early next week. So that forces the upper low to rotate back west and southwestward toward the Gulf of Maine. I mentioned yesterday the likelihood that there probably be some kind of weak backdoorish front on Monday, and I'm still holding to that idea. If you follow the flow, our upper air is coming basically from eastern Canada down into the northeast and mid-Atlantic states. So while we will warm up, especially on Sunday when we'll get into the 60s, between the upper low to the east and a northerly wind, we will probably see temperatures kept in check for at least the first part of next week until the upper low gets out of the way. And then after that, it still looks kind of blocky here, Joe. I didn't even look at the surface yet, but there's a wrapped up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 contour cutoff east of Atlantic City, south of Islip by Sunday, April 11th. So it'll be interesting to see what it shows on the surface. And again, the blocky nature of all of this just kind of leaves these lows hanging around and reforming. I don't know how it's going to be above normal. I know CPC was talking above normal temperatures. I don't know how they're going to do it here with this block like this. It just can't happen. I'm looking at this 500, Joe's. I'm swinging it around. Except for this one period here, next Wednesday and Thursday, when we get into a ridge position for a couple of days, how are you going to be above normal with anything that remotely resembles this is beyond me.
Well, you pointed out that really tightly wound up closed low on April 11th. And I'm not looking at April 11th. I'm looking a few days later on April 14th. We're not even into April yet. And here I'm looking at the middle of April. This is the 330-hour prog. And if this doesn't show, if you want to bring that up, Joe.
I'm bringing it up now. I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen this model run. So this is all going to be news to me. So we'll start.
This is like once again, though, if you take this at face value, once again, all you snow lovers get ripped off in our neck of the woods, but they're really showing a heavy duty, may I even say close to blizzard-like conditions in central New York at 330 hours. This is not going to verify. It's not going to verify, but it's interesting to see what this is cooking all the way down the road. And again, this has nothing to do with that. Apparently, that super duper closed low that you showed for April 11th. That's long gone. This is something completely different.
Yeah, I'm up to.
It's pretty wild.
I'm on the 18Z run here, so I'm up to 294 hours. I'm just trying to see. Joe, I'm not seeing what you're seeing.
This is the 330-hour, Joe.
All right, the
GFS 6 hour
on the 18Z. Oh, I have the 12Z.
On the 18Z.
I'm sorry, I have it popped up the 12Z for me instead of the 18. Okay, I knew something didn't look right. All right, let's roll it back here. All right, you know what? I'm gonna bring it back to the present time. So let's do this in logical sequence.
I switched over. 330 hours, I switched over to the 24-hour snowfall, including sleet.
All right, you know what?
Assuming a 10-to-1 snow liquid ratio.
Hang on a second. You have the map up there. I'll give you. You got the sharing capability. So go ahead and share it while I get my map in order. Let's have. We got 4 days off, so we're not gonna have to worry too much about what the next 4 days show on the model runs if we leave everybody with this. But go ahead.
So here we go. Wait a minute. Let me just Da, 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 da. Sharing. All right.
Hang on.
On your screen right now, can
Yeah.
you see it?
Yeah, it's there.
All right. All right. So this is the 330-hour prog. This is valid for 12Z Wednesday, April the 14th. Now we're not, as I said, we're not even into April, and I'm showing you here a map that is valid for the middle part of next month. And we all know this isn't going to, but I just want to show you they have this wound up 991 low north and west of the tri-state area. And of course, you could see the green here. We are apparently in an area of showery and possibly moderate to heavy rainfall. But notice, if you will, this deep, dark shade of blue, indicating, of course, snow. So if you take this at face value, you're probably saying to yourself, all right, so what is the GFS cooking up in terms of possible accumulations in this sector of New York State for the 14th of April, the morning of the 14th of April, this year of our Lord 2021. So let me change this from the mean sea level pressure, rain and frozen. Let's go to what it shows for a 24-hour snowfall, 10-to-1 ratio. Boom. And there you are. Is this Binghamton? Binghamton's right about there, right? 24 inches for them.
Good Lord.
19 for around Syracuse, 16 up here as we get up toward Watertown. I don't even know what this. Look at this. This goes from the pink to the white to the deep shade of green. I don't even know what this color here is supposed to signify. I'm going to make the assumption that this is a narrow band of what, 30 inches. In that area.
Steve,
remember this world, folks.
Steve Lapointe. Joe's said that this is the usual GFS fiction. Okay, so we're just kind of having fun with it tonight. So
this is the new. This is the new GFS, by the way. The new and improved GFS.
That's correct.
GFS,
yes,
I might add.
We're just kind of having fun here with what the models are doing. We're not. Don't take any of this seriously. We never. Whenever we see stuff in the long range, come on. We always say it's all nonsense.
Here's the positive snow depth change. This obviously taking into account more of a sleety type of pattern. Of course, that's why we cut the accumulations down from 24 to 19 here, and from 18 to 16 here. So yeah, you could see that.
Right.
Taking that into account.
Right.
And let's not forget the sun angle in mid-April.
No. There'll be competition. There'll be competition for the shovel shovel concession for that if it were anywhere close to reality. Good God.
Well, Joe, look at this now. The F Gen map at 700. No wonder they're getting clobbered. Look at all of this omega that jammed together in the central part of New York. Well, that's why. There it is, folks.
Yeah,
you wanted an explanation. There you go.
Don't pack your suitcase to Florida just yet. Okay, just yet, because there's a probably a greater than 50% chance. So let's say like a 99% chance that the next run won't have this. But before that, though, I just want to, in all seriousness, though, I do want to point out with this blocky pattern that we have. Well, one of the things that becomes problematic is trying to kind of figure out, well, where are you going to be with respect to the block? And first off, you got this ocean low that is to the east, and you've got weather systems that are running through the Great Lakes. So you're kind of in this sort of funny boundary zone next week, which is why you see the GFS streaking some showers on Tuesday. From western New York down into New Jersey and then off the coast. And then it spins out, this was that first system I was talking about. It spins out a nice looking low later next week. And while we do have south winds ahead of it because we're kind of in this ridge position, once the low gets in here, you start to get into these showery rains. It's got a low, Joe, in West Virginia and Virginia that takes forever to move out of the way. So this could be one of those setups where we get into gloom and doom and clouds later next week, and have to sit in that dreck for about 3 or 4 days at a time. Beyond that, the only thing I'll go back and say is I don't care what the maps are showing. Forget about what the surface maps are showing. The bottom line is, if we do have this blocky look to things, the way the models are painting, it's certainly, if you're looking for 70s and 80s to suddenly make a reappearance up in the Northeast and in the northern Mid-Atlantic states, it's going to be a really tough thing to. It's just not. It more than likely is not going to happen.
You know, the experimental model, the 3 to 4 week prog. I remember a couple of weeks ago had virtually the entire United States covered in above normal temperatures, and quite obviously that is not going to be the story here in the East. We are going to be looking at uh, a protracted spell of below normal temperatures for a while, and it may not really warm up until the middle of the month, and it may not warm up at all in the middle of the month if you believe what I just showed you on the GFS. So uh, we'll see how all of this pans out
Yeah.
in the days to come.
The yeah. I I I I don't like spring. I never liked spring. It's just it's such a frustrating time. It really is. Uh so let's do some Briller Jeopardy and then we'll yap a little while because I have a couple of interesting stories. By the way, Joe, I've gotten a few people posting the wonderful compliments about your article that you wrote for space.com. So you might want to tell everybody about that and maybe share the link if you'd like.
Of the for space.com or the Royal Astronomical
Yeah, that one. That
Society.
one.
I know. Oh, that one. Well, because I know that you did post the thing I wrote about the Paschal full moon and how
Yes,
we
I did.
date Easter using that. That was and the confusion there is that the Church, the Vatican, has one way of calculating when the full moon occurs, and they are strict in saying that spring begins on March 21st, which it does not anymore. And because of that, sometimes you get these little discrepancies between what the astronomers say should be the date of Easter versus what the church says is the time of Easter. And even more interesting, back in 1963, they the Vatican II said what we ought to do is we ought to get a consensus of all of the uh, uh, religions that practice Catholicism and make Easter each year like the second Sunday in April, instead of having it end up sometimes in late March, sometimes in late April. Have a closer to being a fixed time. And this 1963, it's been over almost 60 years now, and they still haven't been able to come to a consensus yet. So we're still doing it this odd way with, you know, the golden number and trying to determine when full moon is and March 21st for spring and everything. It's just crazy. The thing that you're referring to and what some others are referring to is that I wrote a paper since I'm not working anymore, and I've got a lot of time in my hands aside from when I'm outside with my wife, taking care of the
Sumac
yard and cleaning
trees.
things up out there. Uh, I've been spending a lot of time at my computer. There was a comet that broke up in 1995 unexpectedly, shattered into several pieces, let loose with a whole spew of dusty debris out into space. Question: will any of that debris or those pieces of that comet interact with the Earth sometime down the road, possibly producing a display of meteors shooting stars? So I sat with my computer and also referenced some other studies on this same problem, wrote a technical paper, research paper on this, which I then submitted to the International Meteor Organization, the IMO. Their journal is called Work Group News, or WGN. And apparently, somebody at the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada saw the article, saw the paper, and thought enough of it to go to WGN and say, hey, this looks interesting. Can we have that paper and reprint it in our journal? And they apparently got permission, and it's in their journal now. And I was I did like a double take when I saw that, because the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada is a pretty, not exclusive, but pretty up there in terms of astronomical publications. So for them to actually ask permission to have my paper printed in their journal was really something else. And
Well,
so
I mean, look, the
uh,
Royal
publication date is
Astronomical the Royal Astronomical Society's got a hook with the Queen. I mean, this is a
yeah.
big this is a big deal. You
Well,
know.
it's still they still think of Canada as what, part of the UK, the United Kingdom,
Well,
the
they're
domain
part of the
of Queen
Commonwealth.
Elizabeth.
They're part of the
Yeah,
Commonwealth.
yeah. So there you go.
I mean,
So and it's even funny about it.
I drove on the Queen Elizabeth Expressway in on the Canadian side
In
of
Canada,
Niagara Falls
really?
in Canada.
Well, I was in
Yes.
Niagara Falls. Yeah, I probably did that when on our
Yeah,
honeymoon. But
when you go through the customs over there, when you come out the other side, you're on the Queen Elizabeth Expressway. She's got her own expressway.
lovely.
Okay, really,
Well, anyway,
this is a
it
big
was.
deal.
Well, I was happy to see it. When you write a research paper, you don't get paid for it when you get it published
Right.
in a journal, but it will be seen by a lot of eyes now between now and when this meteor display may occur. That'll be in May of 2022, and in fact, I'll put up the link so that you can get a chance to see it. This is the April issue of the Journal of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada,
You have to start
and there it
you
is.
have to start speaking in terms of one. In other words, when one writes for the Royal Astronomical Society, one does not.
Well, I know you would do that, Joe.
Yes, my Facebook point. I used to write in third person, and then I kind of transitioned over to the royal we. I have more. I seem to
Yes.
be able to have more fun with that. But that's great. That's really that is so cool. I haven't read it yet,
It
but it is cool.
well, several people who did read it came back and said, you lost me after the first paragraph," because there's certain things in astronomy that you need to understand, or you need to understand what I'm eventually going to do for one of the popular glossies, Sky and Telescope magazine. I'll probably write. I don't want to say dumbed down version, but a version that is that could be more better understood by the layman, as opposed to this technical paper. Because when you write in one of these technical journals and you say that something is going to happen, you have to prove it using certain formula and certain mathematical terms or whatever. And I did this, by the way, Joe. That there are people. I'm not even in the same league with many of the people who do these kind of calculations, but yet I was able to do some of these calculations with a DOS, a disk operated system program that I've had since the 1990s. But I was still able to use that program to do these animations or simulations of the comet and the meteor trail and everything else. And when I sent it off, when you do a paper like this, they don't just say, "Oh, thanks a lot, we'll print it." It has to go through, just it has to be looked upon and judged or graded by other people in the field, other scientists. And apparently, one of them said, "This is a great article. It should, get a lot of people interested and a lot of people looking skyward on that night, May 31st, 2022." So we still got about 14 months to go, and between now and then, um, we'll see. I may get a few people, contacting me and asking questions, and I was just very happy that I was able to do it. And again, these are the things, just like with you, with your I call you the king of all media, with all of your media outlets, Facebook and uh, YouTube and everything else, all the things that you do. This is the stuff that I was doing, you know, now in my spare time. One of my friends said, "See, if you were wasting your time 8 hours a day at a TV studio, you wouldn't have been able to write this." And he's
He's
probably right.
right.
I
He's
wouldn't have had the
right.
time to write it. So,
He's right.
um,
Now, in a totally different league, on my end, I just wanted because you just reminded me, since we're talking about writing. So, I'm going to put up a link, uh, an Amazon link, to my high school friend, Dr. John Avanzato, and he's been a doctor. He's in upstate New York for many years, and he started writing mystery novels. He created a character named John Chesaday, and this doctor goes around. He stumbles on these murders, and he solves the crime. And I believe his latest book is called Bleeding Heart, which came out on October 7th, 2020. He just finished, and he sent it to me because in his next book, I'm not going to reveal the title because I don't want to give anything away. But in his next book, I am
Character?
I'm a character. In fact, I
You mentioned this Joe Chiaffi,
no, my name has been changed.
meteorologist Joe Chiaffi.
My name has been changed, but I am I'm in that book in a big way. So let's just leave it at that. I won't give away anything, but so I'm really thrilled.
The name has been changed.
I helped John with
the name has been changed to protect the innocent.
right. I helped John with one of his books because he had a bunch of weather questions. I believe one of the novels where the murder was on a cruise ship or something, and or something along those lines. And I helped him out with some weather questions that he needed answers to as part of the plot. So in thanks, he's written this book with me as a character in it. So he sent it to me. I haven't. I'm this weekend because I've been so busy doing all sorts of things and traveling and getting my taxes done and getting my mother's taxes done and my daughter's taxes done. Well, now this weekend I am going to sit down and read this and find out exactly how vicious I am.
That's great.
Well,
that is
what I'm hoping for is that it gets made into a movie.
Well, Bill Rogers says, I hope Joe Chiaffi isn't a murderer.
Well, you never know. It could be. I don't know. But John was great. Yeah, it was wonderful that he did that. That was terrific. He had asked me, and I said, can you make me a character in your book and like make me vicious? so we'll see. We'll see. Because in real life, I'm just just a saint. Am I not, Mr. Rayo?
Well, with the mustache and the beard, you do look a bit sinister. But
no, you mean that serial killer look? Yes, exactly. All right, let's do Briller Jeopardy because we touched on it yesterday about childhood games, finding out that the father of this country and the great men who contributed to the formation of the United States all sat around in the spare time and played marbles. Okay, so the theme tonight from Briller Jeopardy, and Scott is on his COVID runs, and we wish him well, and please stay safe. So this is going to be childhood toys and games. So question 1 is, in the original Crayola box that debuted in 1903, what were the original 8 colors?
Well, they wouldn't they be like Roy G. Biv? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. There was I guess white, or maybe black. Am I close to it?
Yeah, you actually got them. Red, orange, blue, green, yellow, violet, brown, and black. There was no indigo.
There was no indigo.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I just never. By the time by the time you and I were running around, they had chartreuse in there. But
periwinkle.
Periwinkle. Yes.
Silver.
Right.
Gold.
Right.
Amber. And I always wanted the box of 64
with the sharpener,
with the crayon sharpener.
And my parents couldn't afford it. It was $1, I think, for that box, and they didn't have the money.
Same thing with mine.
Couldn't afford it.
I asked for it, never got it. And wait a minute, hold on.
You know, these 6 and 7 year old kids, Joe, they got phones and iPads and everything else, and we couldn't get a dollar box of crayons.
Here you go. My sister, for a Christmas present a few years ago, never did open it, but she said, "Here, you always ask for this, and here you go. Here's your 64 crayons, and there's your sharpener
That's too.
right there."
That's too funny. Used to used to sit around the classroom with your little box of 16 or 24, and you know some of the kids, they would come in with that the 64, and you felt like crap. Question 2:
Yes,
the original 4 colors of Play-Doh.
a Play-Doh.
Play-Doh.
Um, uh, well, I had Play-Doh. I had like a pinkish Play-Doh, a blue color. I guess they had white. I don't think they ever made black Play-Doh. Um, I'll say red, yellow, white, and blue.
It
What did they have?
is
What did they have?
red, yellow, white, and blue. Very good.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Uh,
Did you ever get the Fun Factory?
no, thank God. Well, look,
Remember the Fun
I'm
Factory?
just going to say this about Play-Doh. Okay, if you if you need to buy a gift for parents for a child, and you have a deep dislike for for these people, buy them Play-Doh, because they will be forever cleaning it up out of their house. You know, just say,
You know
here,
what else goes?
kid, go play with the Play-Doh, and those parents
You know
will
what goes?
hate you.
You know what goes along with the Play-Doh is silly putty.
Oh,
I must have had like 5 or 6 silly putties in my, and they always ended up on the rug, stuck to the rug or whatever.
yep, exactly. Bill Rogers, I have my DMV story, so hang on, okay? What question 3? What are the 5 best-selling board games of all time?
Well, we have to have Monopoly in there. Monopoly
Monopoly was number
and
3.
number three, really.
Yep.
How about what was the one that we used to play when we were very small? Candyland.
No,
Is Candyland in there?
no.
Candyland is not in there. How about uh, Life?
They're
The game of life.
actually these next 4, the other 4 are pretty basic. Okay.
Sorry.
No, they're not.
Sorry.
Monopoly is the only brand name game in here. Okay, the rest of them are all.
Really?
Yeah, well, actually, one of them is a brand name, but it's very commonplace.
I well, I'm thinking about the standard board game, and I don't even know if this qualifies as a board game. But I mean,
what is the most standard board game that every kid plays at one point?
checkers,
Right, that's number 2.
checkers,
That's
right?
number 2.
Oh, okay.
So what's the sophisticated form of?
Chess.
Okay, so that's number 1. Okay,
Oh, okay.
okay, and now
Okay, so we have
there's
chess, checkers, Monopoly.
right. Chess is 1, checkers 2, Monopoly 3. 4 is a game that I used to play and enjoyed, but I think it's more of a game that adults get into, and probably older adults, and it's not mahjong. I will tell you that. um, but this is probably a game that most older folks would know.
Password.
No, no. Backgammon.
Concentration. I used to get the backgammon.
Backgammon.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. And the other
How
one,
about dominoes?
no, not dominoes. And the 5th one is, well, um, uh, people play it on their apps all the time.
How about Battleship?
No, Scrabble.
Scrabble. Right, Scrabble.
Okay,
How
so
do you
now
like that?
Question four and the final question today is: from the 1950s to the late 1990s, the game Monopoly contained these 10 iconic tokens. Can you name the tokens?
All of them.
Yes.
Let's see. There was the thimble
I never
and
understood
the Scotty dog.
why the thimble, why a thimble, but yeah.
The thimble,
Okay, so yeah, there was the thimble, the dog,
the dog,
hmm
the cannon. There was the
the
cannon.
cannon,
Um, the cannon. Did they have a car? They had to have
the
a
race
car.
car.
The race car. Yeah. Um, my kids loved Monopoly. I used to play with them all the time, but that's been so long. The hat.
The hat, yes, the top hat.
Did they have the hat? The top hat?
hmm
Well, it wasn't a top hat. It was more like a fedora,
Yeah, well,
if I remember correctly. You know,
either way, it's a hat.
um, did they have a? Did they have a shoe? Was it
Well,
a shoe
that's the boot.
or the
The
boot? All
boot.
right.
We'll accept
I
that.
thought they had a second. I thought they had something like a sneaker or something.
All right, so you got boot, cannon, the car, the dog, the thimble, and the top hat. So that leaves four.
Uh, and actually, they got rid of. I think of they phased out some of these, and for all I know, they may have phased a couple of these out. Maybe like the thimble.
Craig Carlberg is
Um,
correct. Joseph Gaffney,
the
you got
wheelbarrow.
it. The wheelbarrow, correct. So now you got three left.
Hmm.
Just tell me when you give up.
I give up.
Bill Uber, you got it right. You got that correct. He's got one of those.
I'm looking on the chat board for some of what you're looking at. I'm not. All I see from Bill Huber is spin the bottle.
No, I'm seeing the latest
Um,
chats. Your chat might be behind. Do you surrender?
I surrender. Yeah.
Okay, so Michael Azara got one
Oh,
of
the
the
iron.
iron,
The
the
iron.
iron,
Oh, the flat iron.
the
Yes.
battleship, and the horse and rider. So you have the battleship,
The
the boot,
horse and rider.
yeah, the battleship, the boot, the cannon, the horse and rider, the iron, the race car, the dog, the thimble, the wheelbarrow, and the top hat.
I'm gonna have to play Monopoly again just to get reacquainted with all of my old. I always used to. I don't know why, Joe, but when I play Monopoly, I was always taking the thimble.
Um, yes. All right, really quick. I forgot to mention this yesterday, so it's a day late. But I wish I had not forgotten this. But a very, very, very happy birthday to Dr. Frank Field, who turned 98 years old
Wow.
yesterday. And
Wow.
we're friends on Facebook, although I don't see him on very often. But his birthday did come up yesterday, and I just wanted to acknowledge he was always very kind to me at the beginning of my career, and said some very encouraging things to me, which was kind of the opposite of what a certain other person said. But we'll leave that for another day. And yes, and the other thing was, okay, so Joe, I had to get my Georgia license and then register my car. And unlike in the People's Republic of the state of New York, where you go to DMV and have and more than likely you would have the most gut wrenching experience if you do go to New York DMV. And I was to this day, I have never forgotten what this one woman did to me at DMV, where I had purchased a car from someone, and it was very busy, long lines. Finally, get to the window. She takes my form, and she says that it needs to be, this needs to be filled out. And she would not expect by the seller. Now it was simple questions that I could answer. Okay, she would not
Right.
accept the form unless he filled it out. So I had to leave. I drive back. I had to drive back, 5 miles, which took me 30 minutes. Get it filled out. Drive back to DMV. Start the whole process all over again. And I get to her. I go to the same window. She gets it. She gets the paper, and then she says, "This is no good because he needs to sign. He needs to sign. He didn't sign
Oh,
this."
you're kidding
No,
me.
I, I,
You're
I. At
kidding.
that moment, sometimes in moments of anger, I get like inspired. At that moment, I looked at her, and it was a time. I was. You could certainly be in a point of rage at that point. You've wasted 3/4 of the day.
Right.
All right. I looked at her and I said, "You did that on purpose, didn't you? You could have told me, you could have told me the first time around what needed to be completed on this form, but you did it. You did it on purpose." And I just looked at her and I said, "You know what? I hope that one day somebody does to you what you did to me."
What
And
you
I
did to
walked
me.
away. And that, I've always remembered that line. And remember, if something like that happens to you, wherever it is, instead of just like lashing out, just turn to that person and you just say, "You know what? I hope someday what you did to me, somebody does to you." And then and that was that. And as it turned out, I had to go back. When I came back the third time, I went to someone else's window. And she told me, "We can't accept this because you also needed to do this. You needed to do this, that, or the other thing." I said to her, "Look, this is my third time back here, because the woman over there, okay, on purpose would not tell me what needed to be done on this form." So she said to me, and I said it, I was very calm and very nice. And she said to me, "I'm going to turn my back now." Okay, which was her signal to me was, "Go ahead and fill it out and sign it yourself," which is what I did, and then she accepted it. But that was just a horrific experience. Now, laying that aside, I'm just going to tell you the experience here of getting my license and registering my car. Joe, it should be a tourist attraction, and they should bring people in to show them what
How
DMV
it's done.
is supposed to be like. Okay, I walked in at 8 this morning. I was done at 8:05 to get my license.
Wow.
She took my paperwork. I had to bring
Wow.
my passport. I didn't have my social security card, so I had I had a 1099 that had my social on it. All very pleasant, nice. Bing bang, done. Okay, I paid my $20 fee or whatever it was. Now in Georgia, you don't register your car at the department at the what we would call Department of Motor Vehicles. You actually have to go to the county tax office where you get your license plate and your registration. So I did that. I went in. Now I was missing a document. She told me exactly what the document I needed was. I had it at home. I ran back home. I was there in 5 minutes. Came right back, right there. Nobody was there. It was like one other person was there waiting for me. Um, she took it. Ding, bing, bang, bong, done. I was in there I went in at 1:05. I was out at 1:10. Finished. Done.
Wow.
I said to the ladies, I
Wow.
said, "Ladies, this was the most pleasant experience I have ever had with regards to motor vehicles. You have made my day, and you're wonderful. Thank you." It was just
You should
amazing. It was.
you should you should have gone and brought him a cup of coffee or something.
Oh my God! I would have made them dinner. I mean, really, it was just so easy. The only thing I will say though, just so you know, in Georgia, when you register your car, you have to pay the sales tax again. That's the one downside. So what they do is,
Yeah.
based on your car and your mileage, the book value, and they got some formula. So, it was like $700 to register my car. It's a one-time thing. So it's a little expensive. But There's no yearly inspections. You get one license plate. You're done. You renew your registration once a year with the whatever it is, like $20 or $30, and that's it. You're finished,
Right.
and you can do it all online. You don't ever have to walk into another place, into an office again. It was astounding. So
That one
take
person that
that
treated you
DMV,
badly.
take that DMV in Suffolk County on Route 112. Okay, that
If
happened
that
about 6 years
person
ago.
that person who did that to you 6 years ago, had that person been of the male gender, I would have had a perfect line for you to use on him. And it's one of my favorite lines. It's from the movie The Competition. Remember The
Yeah.
Competition with Amy Irving
Mm-hmm.
and Richard Dreyfuss or
Yeah.
whatever? And the line that you could have, and again, if this person had been a man and not a woman, this is the line which would have been perfect for that occasion. You could have looked him straight in the eye and said, "You know something?" And I'm sorry if any of you are offended uh, ahead of schedule. I'm going to say I'm sorry, but this would have been the perfect line to use for that person who insulted Joe 6 years ago. Look him straight in the eye and say, "You know something? It costs extra to carve the word schmuck on a tombstone, but you'd be worth the expense."
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh God, that is brilliant. Uh,
That is from the movie The Competition, 1980 movie. But look it up. When that line came out, I'm watching the movie. I fell on the floor and couldn't for the next 5 minutes. That is the perfect put down line for
no,
anyone and anyone like that.
no, that is a great line. Um, yeah,
Yep.
Jimmy 132 says you got screwed at DMV last year, telling me that you needed 6 points of identification. So brought what I had, birth certificate, etc., and gave them what they wanted, and they wanted and said, "What about Social Security?" Yeah, one of the reasons why I never got, when I got my license renewal, I didn't get that. What do they call that license? The real ID, the one that you had to you
Right.
needed to get in order to be able to fly, because in New
Right.
York you had to bring all this paperwork in, and I'm like, I'm not doing this. They wanted the birth certificate, the Social Security. I had my passport, but that alone wasn't good enough. So I never got it. I figured if I was going to fly, I have my passport, I'll use that. Well, here you just needed, I brought my passport. You needed one thing that had your Social Security number on it, and a 1099 was fine, or a W-2. You don't have to bring the Social Security card, and that was it. That was pretty much it. And I had to bring two like a utility bill, and my mortgage statement, just something that had my address on it, that I was getting mail in the house that I was living in my house.
Right.
So yeah, I mean,
Right.
it was just so it was just so incredibly simple, that it just made me think back to that time. And it doesn't need to be that way. It's so much. Everything here is so stressless, so far. Everything here has been so stressless. And by the
I
way,
wish you.
but
Wish you.
by the way, the best part, my car insurance. I switched my car. I had to move. Switch my car insurance to my new location. Uh,
Right.
my premium dropped by more than 50%.
Wow.
More
That's
than
amazing.
50%. It's at less than half of
I
what I
got
was paying.
excited. I got excited up here when I had to take that 8 hour, uh, watch 8 hours worth of this exam that you have to take, this safety exam, so you can get like what, a big whopping 5 or 10% off of your insurance. You know what I'm talking about? Safe driver insurance premium or something. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's like that 6 hour course, the online course.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I haven't quite done that yet. Okay, so Sunday is Easter, and that's usually lamb and lasagna for me. But I'm probably going to do it during the week next week, because kind of everybody's in different places, and with COVID going on, I was going to go see my grandsons tomorrow. And then my daughter calls me up as my grandson came home with a cough, and that he was getting some kind of cold, and she said she had a bit of a scratchy throat. And I said, you know what? I'm getting my shot, my second. You're getting your second shot soon, right? Because I'm getting mine next Tuesday,
April 12th.
April 12th. Now I got my shot
And it's
exactly 3 weeks after the first one. And that was another thing that wound up being so easy to do. I literally walked into the health department here and I just, can I book a time? And she said, oh, sure, darling, let me just see what's available. And it was a Monday, 3 weeks ago. It was a Monday. And she said, how does Wednesday sound at 11:30? I was like, booked, done, finished. So, and then they just automatically, you come back 3 weeks on the same day, the same weekday, 3 weeks later. So Tuesday is my day to get my second shot. So, and I didn't get any reaction to the first one. And I don't think you did either. So.
no, but mine is. I think yours is different than mine. Mine is the Moderna
You got
shot.
Moderna. I got the Pfizer. Are you growing a third eye?
Ooh, what do you mean?
No, because people were saying all sorts of things that were going to happen when you,
Well,
you're going to grow another limb. You're going to grow a third eye.
No, the second Moderna shot, they say people have been getting like feverish and the chills, and so I said, go ahead, bring it on. I could afford to be sick for a day.
Yeah,
because I'm laughing now. Let's hope that doesn't happen.
My mother had no reaction to either shot, and I usually don't have reactions to vaccines, so I'm hoping that the second shot that I get nothing more than maybe some minor stuff. So anyway, that ends it for tonight, right?
It's done for me. We'll see you all on Monday.
All right, the Joe and Joe Weather
Easter Monday.
Yes, the Joe and Joe Weather Show brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. All ready for spring, so you will be too. 631-756-1125, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. And Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs. Or if you want to become part of this business, just give them a call. Their phone number is 631-957-5106, and they are at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst. So they're very close to Omni, so go to Omni, get your mulch, and then stop by a Genie and tell them you want to get involved in their business. And their website is liholidaylighting.com. So, next 4 days, folks. So we'll be back next Monday. We need a break. We need to get our batteries recharged. So, it doesn't look like much of anything exciting weather-wise is going to be happening. So, Bill Rogers, I'm not cooking this weekend, but if I do start cooking stuff next week, if I can, I'll start recording, because I want you to stop, opening up cans and calling that dinner. Okay. Cooking is very easy. It's nothing complicated. It's very relaxing. So you should be able to do this. Okay? I know you can do it, Bill. I know you can cook, learn to cook a meal on your own. Okay, it can be done. I mean that in a loving way. I don't mean that in a nasty way. Just so that we're clear. So happy Passover, happy Easter. We'll see you next Monday night.
Night, folks.